Hi, my name is Erin Schmidt, and I will be talking to you guys a little bit more about planning a wedding and kind of what goes into that and the step-by-step process and that process. A little bit of an introduction. I'm majoring in hospitality management and about to graduate with that degree. And yeah, there's going to be there are a lot of different events and a lot of different events that take place, but I'll be specifically talking more about weddings specifically, just because there's other things and other elements that go into that, and kind of what that looks like. So the first step is talking to the client. So it's important that you're able to talk to the client about what they're wanting and kind of what aspect of that, what their goal is of and the purpose of the event. So we are talking specifically more about weddings. So that's important to be able to pay close attention to what they're wanting within their wedding. So taking notes, making sure that you're looking into doing more research on those specific things. Maybe there's a specific, more personalized kind of aspect they're really wanting. It's important that you make sure that you keep that in mind when being able to create that event. So that's also making sure that you're also talking about a budget. I think that's kind of where it starts. You need to make sure you know and have a budget of what that looks like and what you are able to spend, and then being able to divide that into different aspects and elements of that wedding. So the next step is selecting and booking a venue. So being able to look at location, if it's hitting the location they're wanting, the clients are wanting, and availability, and a variety of packages. So when I talk about packages, I'm kind of talking about what are those packages like, what are they able to include, what personal touches are they able to include within their fees, because there's obviously going to be a lot of different fees that include different things. So a lot of that is most commonly with when it comes to like tables and chair rentals and all of that. What does that look like? You're going to have to bring that from a different vendor. Obviously vendors are a whole other topic conversation and how that kind of works. But yeah, being able to select that and book that venue is important. That's also going to help decipher for the clients when their wedding date is going to be. So there's all of those different aspects that are going to kind of play into being able to decide that. So I would definitely say the importance of specifying all of that stuff is will be able to allow you to be able to get all of those dates on the book and being able to understand kind of what that looks like. So that will be a beginning part of making sure that you are sending the right things to the right address and putting that as a priority to make sure those things are getting to the venue correctly, and kind of getting those measurements figured out if you're trying to design that space more specifically. And then the next step is going to be finding vendors. Like I already talked about, there's a lot of different vendors that play a part into the wedding and the wedding day. So one of the first ones is catering. I know I personally have some experience in catering because of the hospitality industry that I've been able to be placed in. So I was doing catering for a couple of different places, and being able to do that, there's so many different elements to making sure that that is being priced out correctly, those different fees when it looks like gratuity or whatever that looks like, making sure that you are able to have that priced out properly, and yeah, making sure that that is an element that is being played out, because that can be really, really pricey, and that can be a big expense of that, creating that experience for somebody. Also a florist, making sure that those bouquets are looking properly exact on what the bride and the groom are wanting within that process. So being able to also create that environment with entertainment, and being able to know what all those prices are looking like, all those little details when it comes to a stage, and being able to make sure the dimensions are there. That's why it's important to have that that location picked out first so that you're able to figure out if that's going to work out. And photographer and videographer, those are important parts to be able to create that process. You know, you might need to fly in the photographer, videographer, and those are all those little details that you're needing to figure out. Kind of what I was talking about before in the chair and table rental, that is a whole other detail that is important to keep in mind, because you don't know where they're able to ship those things to, and all of that. So those are all things that are important to be able to keep in mind when making sure that you're keeping in that budget that bride and groom are wanting to stay in, and that will be priced out once you have a good idea of where they want to be able to kind of divide that budget up into within that process. So those are just a couple of things that are a part of like the vendors and kind of what that looks like when once creating, being able to create good and healthy relationships with those people, with those vendors and all of that, that'll allow you as a event planner to be able to get the best deals you possibly can for all of your clients, and also being able to create a good experience for your clients, and also that will come back to you in your payment and the company that you might be working for, or whatever that looks like. So that's why it's important to have good relationships with those vendors and being able to keep those details in mind. And then the conclusion. So essentially, that is essentially what it looks like to create an event and plan an event. It's important to keep in mind what the event that you're planning is, and how that budget is going to be able to be maintained, because that is the main thing that bride and that groom wants, is to make sure that everything is staying in budget. So that's kind of where you come in, where you're able to kind of divide and conquer, dividing up the budget and dividing up where you're going to find those vendors and what that kind of looks like. So being able to do that is super, super important. I appreciate your guys' time today, and thank you so much for the ability to do that. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you.